Hey everybody. David's feeling under the weather today, so you're stuck with me. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. Today I'm going to talk about some coping mechanisms, good and bad. The main reason is today something moderately positive happened to me. I am a smoker. And there's my cat. I am a smoker, and that's one of my coping mechanisms. Coping. I'm going to actually read you a definition from my psychology book. I have it bookmarked. Coping, according to my book, coping is efforts through action and thought to deal with demands that are perceived as taxing or overwhelming. Basically, any kind of stress, anxiety, depression, even good things can require coping, planning a wedding, you're going to get stressed when you're planning a wedding. You're going to need to cope with that. So we're going to go over some coping mechanisms. I called the smoking cigarette, David, what was it I called?
1-800-QUIT-NOW.
1-800-QUIT-NOW. The people who help you quit smoking. Because when I was in the hospital in October, they gave me nicotine gum to help deal with the cravings, because obviously you can't smoke in a hospital. And by the time the week was over, my lungs just felt amazing. I was able to breathe through my nose, through my mouth. Food tasted better. Everything smelled better. It was just a whole different world. And I had tried to quit many times before and just never really had much of a reason to. But now that I really got a good feel for how it feels to be a non-smoker, I really seriously am trying to quit this time. Because the smoking began when my mental illnesses began, which was my early 20s. I mean, some of my mental illnesses I was born with, but I mean the severe ones, the schizophrenia, the bipolar, stuff like that. The stuff that got really hard to handle was in my 20s, and that's when I started smoking. And then I went through a divorce, and that made it even worse, and then I, ended up addicted, obviously. I've had this teddy bear since the day I was born. He's one of my coping mechanisms. We'll go through that in a minute. And, hi, kitty. She might join us in a minute. I don't know. She's wandering around. So first, I want to go over some bad coping mechanisms. To start off with, smoking. One thing that kind of got David in trouble was emotional compulsive eating, where certain types of foods will trigger in your brain the reward system in your brain, and it will give you neurotransmitters that make you feel good. But the problem is you can get addicted to it, just like you can get addicted to smoking or alcohol or drugs, which are also bad coping mechanisms. Becoming alcoholic. A lot of people do alcohol because it calms them down. It can make them happy. It makes them forget about what's bothering them. Same thing with drugs. Am I bothering you, David?
No, you're good.
Okay, he's kind of like half asleep right now, and so I'm over on my bed. We do have separate beds, mainly because we're both bed hogs. Another one is excessive sleeping. I don't want to face the day. I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to stay in bed. Don't do that, because that only gives your mind more time to dwell over whatever is bothering you or whatever you're avoiding. And that you're not going to get good sleep in that process, and your regular sleep schedule will be screwed up. That won't work. You really don't want to go that route. And compulsive spending is another one. They say money can't buy happiness. Well, unfortunately, they're wrong. It can, but it can also go a little too far. You could spend money that you need to save for rent. Gambling. Oh man, lots of people do gambling too, and that also can be a problem. And then, of course, the worst one would be self-harm, or even, dare I say it, suicide. Cutting yourself, overdosing on medication, hitting your head. Some people even rip their hair out. Some people burn themselves. And that's all the examples of that I'm going to give, because I don't want to trigger anybody. So I'm going to leave that one at that. So, when you get to that point, that's when you need to call your therapist and talk to a therapist, or even a suicide hotline. The one most famous here in the United States is, if you want to write this down, 1-800-273-8255. It's completely anonymous. They don't share your information with anybody. The only time they'll share information is if they think that you are going to be a harm to yourself or somebody else. Then they might call for emergency intervention closer to your home. Otherwise that's it. They're not going to call your friends, they're not going to call your family, they're not going to call your doctors, they're not going to talk to anybody within each other. It's completely confidential. And so, yeah, if you're ever feeling like you get to that point, give them a call. Don't be afraid. That's what they're there for. They care about their jobs. They're there because they want to help people. So it's a good hotline, and you really should keep that number handy. So now we'll go over some good coping mechanisms. Some good ones are, one I do a lot is deep breathing and meditation. Now, a lot of people think meditation is the whole, you have to sit like this and you have to go, but you don't have to do that. You can do like just a guided meditation. You can sit or lay in a comfortable position and focus on your breath, focus on the meditation guide if you're using a spoken meditation guide. Another one's journaling, writing down. You don't even have to journal about yourself, really. I mean, that's a good thing. You can journal about yourself. You can write down anything at all. You can write down about your problem that you're dealing with, and maybe you could brainstorm and come up with a solution for whatever the problem is. You could just write a random story. You could write a scene from a story. You could write, oh boy, you could write poetry. You could write haikus. You can get creative and just write, and don't even worry about finishing anything if you're just writing. I mean, write a letter to yourself, reminding yourself of why you like yourself, good things about yourself, and, lists like that, journaling lists of positive things. If you're feeling good that day, write down what made you feel good, how you're dealing with it, because then when you have a bad time, you can go back to that journal and remind yourself of why you like yourself, what makes you a good person, what made you happy in the past, what can you do to help the situation that you're in. Exercising or even just walking is great. It releases endorphins in your brain, which make you feel good. It's good for you. I mean, it burns calories and tones muscles, and even just a brisk walk around the block, fresh air, walk your dog if you have a dog, spend some time with your dog. Talking to people that you trust, your significant other if you have one, your best friend, even your therapist, or my mom. I talk to my mom about this stuff all the time, because my mom, ever since I was diagnosed, she has been there for me 100%. And I think I've said that before, and I'll probably say it many more times. But yeah, talking to somebody, even just chat, and just like with the journaling, you don't have to talk about the problem. You don't have to write about the problem. You can just talk about anything with somebody. If you want to talk about the problem with somebody you trust and you think they can help you, that's great. Go for it. But you don't have to go that route. You can just babble endlessly like I am right now about whatever's on your mind. go out to eat with somebody, you know? Go hang out at a bookstore or a library or somebody else's house. Get yourself out of the surroundings that are upsetting you. Go to a different room in the apartment. Sorry about the shaking of the camera. Of your house or your apartment. Go to a different room. Whatever. Healthy snacks are good. Once again, they're good for you in general. You know, fruits, vegetables. Sometimes if you're feeling kind of weak, something high in protein or iron, like milk, cheese, even bagels are pretty high in iron. But you kind of should watch your carbs a little bit, though, with bagels, because they can be pretty high in carbs. But they're still, you know, pretty good. Taking up hobbies is a great one. One of my hobbies is art. I do a lot of painting. I do writing. I have yet to finish anything, but like I said earlier, you don't have to finish it. You can just do whatever you want to get your mind off of it. I do writing, I read, I draw. Some people make music. Am I bothering you, babe?
No, you're fine, you're fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay. Playing with your pet. If you don't have a pet and you have the means to get one, I highly suggest getting one. That's how we came about getting an emotional support animal. No, I'm not one of those people who's going to throw a fit if the airline does not let me bring my peacock on with me because it's my emotional support animal. That's not how it works.
Because there's a difference between an emotional support animal and
a service animal.
A service animal.
Yes.
A huge difference.
If you can hear him. If you couldn't hear him, he said there is a huge difference between an emotional support animal and a service animal. Service animals are going to supply you with physical things that you need. Like people who are diabetic can get dogs that can sniff out low blood sugar. Epileptics can have dogs. Blind people, deaf people. You know, anything where the dog or cat even will be essential for survival and maintenance of your health and your situation when you're away from home or even at home too. So, but emotional support animals are more for just that, emotional support. Like we have our cat, Onyx. We got her by the suggestion of one of our former therapists. Once again, sorry about the shaking of the camera. I keep kicking the desk where the camera's mounted. Can't blame it on the cat this time. She's in a different room, thank God. But studies have even shown, you know, petting a cat or a dog, it's great for your blood pressure. It's good for anxiety. It's just good in general. It's another way to release those endorphins. Distraction is, depending on how you distract yourself, it can be very useful. Listening to music, listening to your favorite song, singing along with it, even if you're tone deaf, sing along, you know, have some fun, sing like there's nobody watching, and if there's nobody watching, sing even louder. Watch your favorite movies, you know, just anything to get your mind, for a little while, to get your mind off of whatever is causing the stress. Cleaning your house is good in a couple of different ways. I mean, one, it is physical, so like the exercise and the walking, it's going to release endorphins in your body, and that's going to make you feel good. Two, it gets things done that need to be done. You know, you could do your dishes, you could clean the bathroom, you could vacuum the floor. All those are things that need to get done anyway, so you might as well do them. And three, when it comes to cleaning, once you're done, you get this nice little sense of accomplishment because you did something and you finished it and you did a good job. And, you know, just even if it is something as simple as vacuuming the floor, when you're done, that's going to be like, oh, wow, our floor looks really good now. You know, that's cool. That's great. You know, that's awesome. And then really, when it comes back down to it, eventually you do have to sit down, analyze the problem, and come up with a step-by-step solution. People who you trust can help you with that. Writing things down can help you with that. weighing down pros and cons of different ways of dealing with whatever is bothering you. If there really isn't anything bothering you and it's just stress, then you don't really have to worry about this. The other mechanisms should help too. So, and then if worse comes to worse, there's always your therapist or a hotline. I will repeat the number for the suicide hotline. You don't have to be suicidal to call the hotline. Even if you just feel like self-harming, they're not going to turn you away. No, you can call them. And once again, that number is 1-800-273-8255. Write that down. Write it in your book. Write it on a piece of sticky paper and put it in your medicine drawer. If you're on medicine, put that in your drawer. And that's the last coping mechanism, is if it really comes down to it, if you have as needed medication for anxiety or whatever, be responsible, follow your doctor's instructions, and use the medication to your advantage. But I must emphasize, you must listen to your doctor. They know what they're talking about, and yeah. And I'll show you one of my coping mechanisms for my smoking. Hold on. Dum Dum Pops. Swear to God, these things are awesome. Because they occupy my mouth, like I have a cigarette. They occupy my hands, like I'm smoking. And one little Dum Dum Pop makes me feel better. So there you go. Have a Dum Dum Pop, write something down, go take a walk, all sorts of stuff you can do. If you guys have any suggestions on coping mechanisms that you use, or that you advise against, if you have bad ones, share them in the comments below. I would love to hear all your ideas, and I'm sure other people who are going to watch this video would also love to hear your ideas. So, but that's enough for now, so I'm going to stop talking, and we will see you tomorrow. Oh, and today is November 12th, 2018. So you'll probably be watching this on November 13th, 2018. Have a good night, everybody. Goodbye.